of anxiety. It's unbelievable. In fact, one of the first things which one has to address is anxiety. Anxiety could come from many fronts. It could be from a different geography. For example, when we made acquisition of Sangyong in Korea, and since I was involved right from the due diligence stage, the first and foremost thing which comes to mind is the acquire and acquiree. Okay. Can we manage that whole perception that there is nothing called acquire or acquiree, or even if it is, let's face it, there is a situation, but how can we minimize that anxiety on that count? That's one. The second is, I think both Vineet and Ajay have highlighted this. I will like to re-emphasize, even at the cost of repetition. It all depends, the starting point is what is your strategy of acquiring. That is going to determine all other things. And I'll also like to differentiate between an acquisition and a merger. An acquisition will have a very different HR connotation as compared to merger. And if it is both acquisition and merger, then it's a very, very big challenge. It's for example, normally one would phase it out. If we were to take example of Satyam, it got acquired by TechM and then it got merged, of course, after some time. Same we did for Punjab Tractors. We acquired Punjab Tractors and 2 years later we merged, but the dynamics were completely different. And this has a very specific relevance to the level of anxiety. And it's basically, I think Vineet did mention, what are the signals which you send to people that, the top or key positions are going to be, occupied by who all. Extremely important part to manage this fear and anxiety is your governance. If at the outset, right in the beginning, if people are very clear, and I find this is the biggest mistake we have done, and we continue doing. We are not thought through all aspects of governance before even getting into the acquisition. How is it that we are going to, what is it we are going to integrate? The most often and most abused word in acquisition and merger is this word integration. Okay, I'm doing integration. It's a very vague word actually, because the clarity on what is going to get integrated and what is not going to get integrated. The second one is more important. Are you going to integrate processes? Are you going to integrate the practices? The cultures are so very different. You go and acquire a company in a foreign country, it's not easy. What has worked extremely well for Mahindra and Mahindra in India can be a super flop out there. So this whole understanding about what exactly I'm going to integrate and what's going to be my governance model is also going to determine a lot on how well we are able to manage that fear and anxiety.